Alright, so you guys know what happened yesterday with my sunglasses, so I thought I'd spend some of my free time trying to look for a new pair. Not really sure what to get. I have these temporary ones here. Oh man, where's the fashion police? But yeah, for me it's more about practicality and function. I just noticed like things look so like glary and stuff, like without my regular ones. Who would have thought something like a sunglass would be an essential tool of sorts? Jeez, I guess it is for me because I go outdoors so much, like hiking. I did find something about drone laws in Canada, which they talked about, hey, be aware of the new laws. I was like, hey, is this new regulations? Like, nope. It was something else, which I'll talk later. And also, one of you guys posted a comment about capturing a solar eclipse with the drone and what the best settings are. I thought that was kind of interesting to talk about. 360, man.
There's no model number. So there's no name, but there's a model number.
Yeah. What's the difference between all those, whatever ones I read, like those prism ones or something like that too?
Prism, yeah. So with the prism lens, it's an added technology from Oakley.
Yeah, the problem I have with some of these is they can't fit my face usually. They always touch the cheeks. This one seems like the best fit so far, but expensive. Yeah, as you can see, those things can get expensive, huh? Actually, a funny thing about sunglass prices, when I bought mine like years back, I remember before the guy was telling me just about the prices, because to me, I was saying like, there's no way this thing costs that much to manufacture, like even with the labor and all that. And he was even admitting himself saying, okay, like that's true, he just can't sell them at a lower price, otherwise they'll get in trouble by the manufacturer, because it's more about marketing and perception. So if like a store starts selling like this big brand name item at a really low price, then I guess to the consumer's point of view, they'll start seeing like, oh, that must be like a crappy quality. I'm not gonna buy it. So they have to sell it at this high price in order to maintain, I guess, that business like presence of them being premium high quality. Not to say like those companies and all that, they don't make like good quality products, just you're pretty much you are paying for like basically marketing and branding for the most part. Like I know that's really true, like when it comes to things like computers, for example. Like when you look at the inside the parts, you're like, why is this one like $500 more than that one? And in many cases it is just because of brand. Although yeah, I think I will need to buy like a new one, because again, like these ones, just everything just looks so weird. Even like when I look at the screen, it looks like I'm looking at a rainbow. It's gonna be hard to like look at the screen and talk and all that too. Yeah, in terms of looking at the screen though, it's kind of hard, but yeah, this is the story I read that generated something about the drone laws. I thought, hey, is this a new proposal? And nope. But the title is interesting. Man who allegedly dove into Halifax harbor to recover drone sparks concerns over safety. So from what I gathered, it was around like Canada Day, and somebody flew their drone, I guess, across the ocean or something like that in Halifax, and it crashed. And as a result, he went into the ocean to try to recover it. And that apparently, according to this, generated controversy in terms of drones and safety. These are the type of quotes, like I don't get why people keep saying stuff like this. Like I understand like the safety concerns, but saying things like, it could be a loss of life, it could be disastrous depending on where you fly, if you're close proximity to an airfield, an aerodrome. Like to me, that's just way overblown in terms of safety. Like yeah, like have safety measures, like warn people, like make them like responsible. But why fear it like in this way? Just in my opinion, it's so counterproductive. I mean, commercial company or not, with SFOCs, I don't think this is actually helping anybody. Like it's fear-mongering people again, like the uneducated about drones. Now for me, I usually try to research like when people make these articles, like what's your background? Like are you just reporting like sensational news, for example, or trying to make news out of the buzzwords of drones and all that? And it's kind of funny because this person, they published something called hospitalizations entirely caused by alcohol per 100,000 in 2015 to 2016. And it shows you here, I guess, all the accidents, deaths, and injuries caused by alcohol. And it makes me wonder, like in terms of like danger and stuff, like obviously this isn't a drone like it flies, but isn't there so many other things in the world that cause like deaths, harm, and all that stuff? Like why don't you make a big deal about this like every single day with things like alcohol, for example? Like there, in terms of safety, I know people warn people with alcohol, hey, don't drink and drive, but they still let people do it, like in regular circumstances, as long as it's safe. Why can't the same thing be done with drones? Why the need, in my opinion, to make like crazy, over the top, I don't know, warnings to people in that sense? Why not just educate them in a down-to-earth way? Responsible, irresponsible. Again, I always try to imagine like relating the drones to other stuff, because again, people usually compare drones to things like, I don't know, like a car. And when you imagine people said that about a car, if you're driving in close proximity of a pedestrian, you could cause death or bodily harm. Like, come on, common sense. Drive it responsibly. Like, just don't fearmonger it like it can cause death. I mean, it do cause deaths, like cars and stuff, but people still use it in a responsible way, correct? This quote was kind of interesting too because it says, the more knowledge that you know and the more efficient that you are as keeping up with the rules and regulations because they change quite often, the better the industry is going to be in the end. I mean, I agree, like keeping up knowledgeable is great, but even in this report, they recommended you to go to the official government site to see what are no-fly zones and all that. And to my knowledge, when I looked at it, this thing is completely outdated still in terms of the new interim orders. So in my opinion, again, it just comes down to education, like to the public. Like, in terms of like these government regulations and all that, they don't even update their information, and people are going to fly them, I don't know, with misinformation like from the official sites. So shouldn't that be the main focus right now? Like encouraging people, like, I don't know, like the government sites to actually update their information to focus more stuff on education as opposed to, I don't know, blanket laws that don't really help in the big end. But again, to me, there has to be fairness. In my opinion, a piece of paper like an SFOC doesn't mean someone is safer than the other. It has to be more about basic understanding about how to fly it, understanding what you're using, and making sure you're doing the safety precautions. I mean, the bottom line is accidents can happen. It's how do you prepare for it for the most part. Otherwise, everything in life, virtually everything you can think of is too dangerous. A plastic bag. I mean, isn't there like kids, for example, that actually died of plastic bags and that's why there's warning labels on them? I mean, everything. You just have to take safety precautions. Which makes me wonder again, where are those new proposed regulations for the drone laws? And Todd, you had this really interesting question. You said you were going to go to Wyoming for the total solar eclipse on August 21st. And you were saying that you wanted to bring your DJI Phantom 4 and just have it up there hanging and shooting. And you intend to shoot it in the automatic mode for the exposure and all that. At the same time, you want to shoot it at 1080p at 120 FPS. So you're wondering if that would be the best way to do it or if there's something better. Well, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if we can see the full solar eclipse here, like in BC. But my first thought would be, if you're shooting at 120 FPS, what benefit is there for the actual eclipse? Because if I'm not mistaken, the eclipse lasts for about over 2 minutes or so. So wouldn't it be more beneficial when you're flying up in the air, getting the eclipse to shoot it in, say, like a higher resolution? Because I know for me, like when you shoot in 4K, even if you don't publish it in 4K, you have the option to say, zoom in closer as if you are like doing 1080p, except you're in the full res again, as opposed to it getting extremely blurry. I'm just wondering again, like with the speed of it, I don't think it goes fast enough to justify 120 frames per second, but it depends on your need, because to me, you only want to shoot in those super high frame rates if it's something going really fast. Like say you're filming like a racing car and you want to slow it down, or something that's blowing up and you want to see all the particles like frame by frame. And so yeah, there, I don't really see the benefit for 120 frames per second. I mean, anyone else feel free to like chime in too. I'm actually surprised when you guys say you don't use any filters at all, because that's one of the keys to trying to keep the thing at the shutter speed at a proper speed to get that cinematic look. Like if that is your goal in terms of getting the eclipse footage and all. I've actually never tried the automatic brightness levels and all that. I've always kept it steady at the 60 speed because I was always told that's the proper way to get the cinematic look. So I was thinking in terms of flying, how's about I try the automatic mode today in terms of the brightness and all. I'll put a filter on, I'll probably use the same ND32. I'm just curious to see how the Mavic and stuff reacts to like the light when I look at it. It'll give you an idea, I guess, in terms of if you're using the drone for the eclipse, whether or not the change is going to be too abrupt and all that. Well, let's see how this goes. Yeah, so you can kind of see the shutter speed is changing like over and over again here. Normally it should be about 160, like to get the proper cinematic look, but you can see here like I'm just looking, kind of trying to target the sunlight, and here it goes up to 160. So hopefully you guys can see that. It's so hard to see with all my regular sunglasses. But yeah, you'll see how it is in the editing right now too, like how it flip-flops back and forth and whether or not it looks more cinematic or not, like what you're used to seeing from what I posted. But that kind of gives you an idea whether or not you actually would want to use, I guess, like a filter and stuff too, where you'll control your stuff manually as opposed to automatic. Because with the auto mode here, with the Mavic anyways, it's going like in auto for the ISO and the shutter speeds back and forth. So that's something that you would obviously have to do like with the Eclipse. Let's do it for a test, like something darker. Let's see if it goes down, yeah. So you can see now it's 50. And let me just bring this up. And then boom, it goes to 100. Okay. Let's bring it back here. And let's see how it does when I'm just taking some simple pictures of like the grass and all that. Okay, so I'm gonna go across the grass. I'm going pretty fast. Shutter speed's at about 1/100. It actually brought the ISO up to 200 for some reason. I would assume the 100 is good enough. Alright, there you have it. Let's just land this thing now. Yeah, so that was an example of the automatic modes, and in my opinion, I guess it is better to use it manually, just whether or not you're comfortable switching back and forth. Because you'll see like how the footage is like when I upload it and all that, like how it changed back and forth, whether or not you think it's worth it. Because it comes down again, are you looking for that cinematic look, I suppose, or are you just looking just for the footage, period? Because I could imagine if you're not comfortable with it, then switching back and forth, it could be like, oh, it's too bright, it's too dark or whatever, and you won't have time to do that. Like during the Eclipse, it'll spoil your whole shot. But again, with the FPS, shooting it at 1080p and 120, I would imagine when it comes to an Eclipse, since like for your situation, you said it's gonna last at least 2 minutes, if anything in terms of editing, wouldn't you want to speed up like the footage, like in the end, to give that more of effect so people can see it quicker, as opposed to slowing it down even more? So in that sense, I'm thinking it might be better for you to shoot like, I say, a 4K resolution and go for like the 30 FPS or whatever, just so that you have the option of the higher video quality. Because with that, again, with 4K, if you decide to squeeze it down to like 1080p as a form of zoom, you can get that 1080p quality as if, you know, you were shooting it with a zoom lens, kind of like what you're doing in your DSLR. But that's up to you. But in my opinion, I think there's more benefit to that than shooting it at the higher frame rate at this point, because it's not like you're filming a speeding car or anything like that. And again, anyone else, feel free to put in your input as well. It's an interesting topic. Makes me wonder if I can get a location here to see the eclipse. I'm guessing it'll only be partial here though. Like I wouldn't be able to see the whole thing. You guys want to see all the scratches I got from yesterday from going to that hike because of all those plants and stuff? Yeah, gotta be prepared for it, I guess, when you're going outdoors. Oh, I guess I gotta find those new sunglasses soon and try and decide which one to buy and find the budget for it before I go blind in my hikes. I don't want to go up there and get blind just because of something stupid like a pair of sunglasses. That was a big sudden swarm, huh? I was actually thinking, since this is an unexpected expense for the sunglasses, is there anywhere I can get some unexpected funds, like to fund the sunglasses? And I was actually checking out from this bank. They actually gave me $50 here recently as part of this referral program. So I was wondering, is there anyone else in Canada that wants to try this and get $50 themselves and help me fund my next sunglasses? I think a lot of people in Canada have heard of this already. It's a Tangerine bank. They advertise themselves as no fee, and they were paying people like $50 just to try them out. And in return, if anyone has actually referred them, they get $50 as well. So both people basically get money out of it. that's their way of spending advertising dollars as opposed to, I guess, things like paying for commercials and all that. So instead they pay people to do that. And it does work. I tested it myself again. I was testing it for people to see whether or not it actually had no fees and all that, and whether or not they actually do pay people for it. The only stipulation to my knowledge is you have to deposit $100 in there initially, and then you can take it out whenever. I did the test too. I left like a couple of cents in there for the interest, but yeah, it does work. So I figured why not throw it out there. Whoever wants to do it, you'll help me get my $50 or whatever to help pay for the sunglasses, and then you can get $50 yourself for helping me out. And I'll put the description and stuff in the description, so you just have to sign up with the ID and all that, like a key referral, and then yeah, everything should be okay. To my knowledge, it's pretty quick. All right, see you guys later.